Welcome to the Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday for September 27th. Coming to you with the last full week of news of the month of September. I am currently safely uh, on the outskirts of a hurricane. There's a lot of y'all I know that are deep in the annals of this thing and know that as someone with a tropical storm PTSD, I am praying for you and I hope that this goes well for you. Go ahead and dig out my dice for the Bible reading for today while letting this populate. What is the right word? There we go. That's some ASMR for all of you listening online. Okay. One, two. Let's see. I think this one fits. Yeah, it does. And got 60 and need a 10. You a 10. You're a 10. That'll do. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday. As I previously stated, let's do this thing. I hope you are doing well and hope you're staying safe. Top of the news, just breaking in the last 15 minutes or so. Um, Good morning, Josh. Yeah, I'm doing this way later than normal. I slept in because hurricane and why not? Um, Top breaking news for the morning. Beloved actress and Professor McGonagall herself, Maggie Smith, Dame Maggie Smith, has passed away. The actress who's been Harry Potter's uh, main elder heroine for a long time, and the Dowager Countess from Downton Abbey did pass away late last night into this morning. She passes away at the age of 89. And if you are a Downton Abbey person, then you're probably aware that during the course of the last Downton Abbey film, they actually filmed a scene of her character passing away because, they had a general knowledge that at some point in the future this was coming. So definitely is sad. I'm grateful for the impact she had on storytelling. Um, she helped a lot of kids be brave and encouraged. And I am grateful for all that I got to see her do in my lifetime. So she will definitely be missed. But let's jump into some news. Past that, uh, in just 3 months after being erected, a statue of Luffy from One Piece that has been raised in the Kumamoto City, which is the birthplace of I always want to make sure I say people's names right. Ichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece. Uh, a statue of Luffy has been erected in this dude's hometown, and the city is saying that it has brought in $25 million in tourist revenue just in a 3-month window. That's pretty dope to have a character popular enough that it can bring in that much finances to your region just because people want to visit it. So I know there are statues I want to visit and places I want to see, but I don't know if I'm ever making it to Japan. It's not exactly on my bucket list. So we will see. And if that's ever something that happens. But in world conflict news, as something just to be aware of and to prepare for, the US announces that it is sending troops to the Middle East. Um, and it encourages Americans to leave Lebanon as it's heading towards dealing with the conflict that is heading there. Um, yeah. A 25-year-old Kelly Andrade has won $2 million in a payout after her boss took hundreds of photos. Good morning, Tristan. I was worried I might miss you being this late. Um, but the her boss took hundreds of inappropriate, or I guess they would all be inappropriate. Her boss took hundreds of inappropriate photos of her by installing a camera in her smoke detector. I don't know about you. Every time I've gone into a hotel, I've thought, is there a camera in there? I used to honestly, there was a smoke detector in the bathroom at the bookstore I worked in growing up, and I would always cover it up just because it felt like there was a camera in there. But this woman found out that there was a camera in there. Um, and this dude had hundreds of photos, and when her boss discovered that she found it, she leapt out of a window to save her own life. She's getting $2 million in punitive damages and $780,000 um in emotional damages. Josh uh Collins says he's worried more about Airbnb cameras. Dude, I've not stayed in an Airbnb. I don't know that I want to or I plan to. You know what? I did stay in an Airbnb. I stayed in one at the beginning of the school year with my kids. And I don't yeah, I didn't even I don't know that I even thought about it. Um I was just playing uh Baldur's Gate 3 and looking at waterfronts, so it was kind of not really paying attention. Yeah, this was my first time, and I guess it's just one of those things I've never planned on. I've never intentionally booked an Airbnb, so I've ended up staying in some, but I've never intentionally made that my choice. Um, but yeah, there was an execution that took place on Tuesday of the 55-year-old Marcellus Williams. Um, he's been on death row since 2001, uh, but prosecutors were even the prosecutors, the people that were against him were saying their evidence had surfaced saying they weren't sure, but he still was executed. And a lot of people are very upset over the way that it was treated in terms of hearing his evidence after that. It's never an easy situation with that stuff, and it's really hard to imagine someone wasting their life over an innocent crime or a crime they were innocent of. Missouri Governor Michael Parson shut down an investigation saying that enough evidence had been found. So families are up in arms, as understandable. Um, NFL legend Brett Favre announced this week that he is battling Parkinson's disease. Um, he hasn't been very public with it, but he went on record this week of saying it's something he's battling, something he's struggling with. Yeah, as someone like there's a handful of people in my life that are struggling with Parkinson's, and it's not an easy route. Uh, in Switzerland, and warning, uh, heavy topic, and especially with the month that it is and everything, it's heavy no matter what. Um, in Switzerland this week, the first case of an American using a pod designed for euthanasia. Um, yeah, Tristan, yeah, that's what I started with. Yeah, Maggie Smith was the first thing I went with this morning, and it's a hard, yeah, it was a hard start to the morning. Um, but in Switzerland, a guy who has been referred to as Dr. Death, who helps people, uh, with euthanasia, which, and just to be clear, it's just a clinically nice term for suicide. Um, has developed the Sarco capsule, which is a capsule where people can buy or rent. I guess it's rent. I don't know. They no, dude, you don't be sorry. This isn't like an attendance based thing. And I appreciate you letting me know because I definitely would have wanted to know. But Tristan apologized for missing the Maggie Smith part. But the Sarco capsules are available to purchase or rent or whatever in Switzerland. And basically you get into this thing that looks like a car top carrier, and you pull a rope, push a button, something to that effect, and it fills the thing with nitrous, and then you peacefully pass. Um, and or nitrogen gas. And the first American that has gone there and used this, um, now there's investigations. Um, Police in Switzerland are detaining people involved in it, and it's just a one. It's sad that that's a unnecessary thing for in some people's eyes, but it's a hard thing when we start monetizing things like that and making it something we're charging people for. It just, I don't know. It feels all kinds of ick and sad at the same time. Uh, and I'm not making jokes about this because I don't wanna, but on the terms of ick and sad at the same time, Sean Pitty Diddy Combs is refusing to eat in jail because he thinks he's going to be poisoned. He's only trusting food from certain people, but he's not trusting any prison food because he feels like he's going to be poisoned. Uh, and I get it. Shots were fired into Kamala Harris's campaign office in Arizona because, this is all about, democracy and us trying to build a better nation, but violence has become kind of the par for the course and how we deal with this stuff, and it's really sad. Um, on the note, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Bieber or on the P Diddy stuff, just because I know it's all over everything y'all are seeing. But Justin Bieber did commentary in from a 2020 interview shows Justin Bieber in tears, um, talking about the fact that he reached out to Billie Eilish as soon as she blew up because he wanted to protect her from all the things he went through. Um, and I appreciate that because I know that there's going to be so much more stuff coming about all this and all the things that have gone on in terms of darkness and debauchery and all the things. And like, I get how easy it is to make jokes about this stuff because it's, sorry, it's, you know, comedy gold in terms of material setup, but I can't, I know that there's a lot of people hurting on the other side of this stuff. And that's hard for me to be humorous about with it. There's just a lot of victims. Even in the people that are choosing the stuff they do, there's a lot of victims. And it's sad. A North Carolina teacher, or sorry, a North Carolina teenager went before the Wake County School Board, which is one of the largest counties in North Carolina. Lorraine Benson, a 15-year-old sophomore at Athens Drive High School in Raleigh, delivered a speech that her English class forced her to read incest, P word for adult entertainment, so I don't get banned off the internets, um, in school, and about the incestual adult content that she was forced to read in her English class that she felt was traumatizing to her. And there is an uproar with the school board and the county and the region about this content. She did not mention the name of the story in what her deposition, but it appears it is Tomorrow is Too Far by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, is what the journalists are speculating is the story. But yeah, as a parent of a 16 and a 14-year-old, I know that my kids are going to be reading stuff I don't agree with. I was once a guest on a talk show at UNC Pembroke um, about a book called Funhouse, I believe, which was a graphic novel that students were refusing to read because they thought it was the P word and they wanted the me debate versus the, you know, liberal arts teacher debate. And it was a it was a fun day, and it was also the last day that they had me on that show. Um, but I digress. Um, it's rough out there in our education system as well. Um, Bridgerton fans are angry. Um, Outside of just the waits in between shows in Detroit, there was an event that took place that was supposed to be for Bridgerton super fans and was supposed to be a all immersive, fully encompassing Bridgerton experience with orchestras and royalty and all the things. And people are showing the footage of it, and it looks very disappointing in it, but it was costing $1,000 per person to go to this event. And some of the commenters say it looked like people just got some stuff from Spirit of Halloween, and it was sad and depressing, and people felt robbed. So um, I get it. If I paid $1,000 to go to anything, I don't want to be disappointed. But that happened in Detroit, so be cautious. And Sao Paulo, um, a blimp advertising a soccer team, a Brazilian soccer team, uh, crashed into the ground, into some houses. Um, and it says that the pilot was rescued from the cabin and taken to a local hospital, and it doesn't appear that many or any people were genuinely hurt past that because it was slow enough moving that people moved. Good morning, Amanda. Amanda is directly in the path of the hurricane. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're safe. Um, I was thinking about you this morning. A nonprofit organization that advocates for Haitian migrants has filed criminal charges against Donald Trump and JD Vance over their comments about Haiti, because they're saying um, Amanda is safe and with power. Good. They're saying that it can constitutes as harassment and defaces the humanity and the vitality of Haitian people. And as I mentioned earlier, Marcus, who was ended up being executed, even though there was evidence of his innocence, in a reversal of that, Iwo Hakamata, who was the world's longest serving death row prisoner, was acquitted and freed within the same week. The dude spent more than 68 years on death row and was released. And that, first of all, 68 years on death row just seems like that's longer than a good chunk of people live. And yeah, that's just a lot. Mayor Eric Adams of New York is accused of defrauding uh New Yorkers of more than $10 million. Uh People are calling for his resignation. He's, not resigning because, that's what people do. Uh and maybe the weirdest headline of today, uh the world's oldest cheese has been found. Um, uh, most cheeses age about 12 months. This cheese has dated back to 3,500 years ago. Uh, this super old cheese was discovered alongside a mummy unearthed in China 10 years ago. But now that they've done all the DNA testing, as they're trying to figure out everything that was buried with this mummy, they have found a block of cheese. Um, they've extracted the DNA of the cheese to reveal its key ingredients and suggest that it was made from kefir, which yeah. Uh and they believe that also this cheese was used as a preservant, preservative, that's the word. That cheese was used as preservative, so they apparently actually smeared the corpses in this cheese to help preserve their bodies, and also just left a block of cheese in case the mummy needed more cheese. So in terms of mummified foods, the cheese stands alone. I'm sorry. In China, a sewage pipe exploded off of a major highway. Um, you, Tristan likes his cheese without the body. Um, a sewage pipe exploded, spraying sewage into the air of hundreds of passing by vehicles, um, including in the not just the impact, but the concussive wave of the explosion was enough to shatter windshields of cars passing by before the material rained down. So imagine the day you're having. You're driving down a road, you're commuting to work, you're going to a comic book shop, you're going, to an Arby's in China, who knows? Explosion, your window shatters, and you think, oh man, this is obviously as bad as the situation can get. Your window shattered as you're driving. But wait, there's more. It rains feces and bodily fluids. And it's just like, that's a day. Imagine being the insurance adjusters on that. I'm just imagine having to spend the next 2 weeks as an insurance adjuster investigating poopy cars. Oh, please. Lana Del Rey got married. The musician, singer, person got married to a man named Jeremy Dufresne in an air quote shock wedding. Now, what's a shock wedding about all this stuff is that she only met this dude a month ago, or announced this dude a month ago. Uh but people are freaking out because he's not a Hollywood person or an industry person. He is a alligator tour guide. Can you imagine how that conversation started? Like some alligator tour guide sitting on the bayou in Louisiana saying, "Hey, I got a date with Lana Del Rey tomorrow." All the other alligator tour guides being like, "Get out of here, psychopath." No, for real, got a date with Lana Del Rey. That's definitely not a Louisiana accent, but you feel me. But she married a dude, but all the headlines say Lana Del Rey marries uh you know tour guide, alligator tour guide. It's just bonkers. Steam, the online video game platform, has once again broken its record for most PC players online at the same time. This time they hit the number of 38,366,479 people all online playing video games at the same time. That's pretty great, honestly. Um, I've never had a computer good enough to actually play Steam, All my stuff is, little laptops for work or DJ computers, but more power to you, unified nerds, in that capacity. In case you thought it was over and that it wasn't happening because of like heart attacks and things like that, the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight is still happening. The fight that was originally announced for the summer is now taking place in Arlington, Texas, live on Netflix on uh November 15th. So 50 days from today, you are getting the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. If that interests you, that's still happening. If you weren't aware, there is a new iteration of Dragon Ball coming to entertainment. Dragon Ball Daima, which is a Dragon Ball series that seemingly has all the DBZ characters turned into children and kind of strips away all the brutal, like, alpha mailing leveling we've gotten to this point and returns them to looking like kids. Uh, the first three episodes in English will be coming to theaters November 10th through the 12th. Uh, yeah, the first we'll be doing that. So if you want to see the first three episodes anywhere else in English before you can see them anywhere else, you can head to theaters November 10th through the 12th. I actually probably will do that, personally, just because I think that would be interesting. Uh, in terms of Hezbollah and Lebanon and Israel and everything that's been going on over there, um, just in one day this week, 180 people were killed in an airstrike, and 700 people were wounded in Lebanon, all just in one day. So it's continually rough over there. And, you know, America getting involved, I don't know how much help it's going to be, um, but it definitely is a rough situation. Um, Dallas Jenkins, the dude who was responsible for The Chosen, is announced this past week, and because they had a Chosen convention, uh, where they were discussing the upcoming projects and things like that, um, and basically announced a Chosen cinematic universe because everything needs a cinematic universe. Maybe that'll be Faith and Fandom's 10th book title, Faith and Fandom X, the cinematic universe. Um, but the Chosen cinematic universe is going to feature an animated series about Jesus, a survivalist show focused on faith with Bear Grylls, and a three-season series about Moses, among other things. So, um, they're not done making biblically themed content. Because once they get through with telling the story of Jesus' death and resurrection, there's also discussion of doing a limited series on the Acts of the Apostles. So lots going on, them still continuing with that. I've yet to watch The Chosen season 4. I need to do that at some point in time. Tim Roth, the star of Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and She-Hulk, has joined the cast of the Peaky Blinders movie. That's coming to Netflix, and I'm just say I love Peaky Blinders, and they keep adding people to this movie. It's gonna be a banger. Um, a new statue of Johnny Cash was installed to the U.S. Capitol. So if you're heading to Washington, D.C., and you want to see this, it was installed as to represent the home state of Arkansas. But yeah, Johnny Cash statue has been officially unveiled at the U.S. Capitol. Um, in a fun little nod slash twist throwback in the upcoming series or in the upcoming film for Joker Folia do. Um, Tristan Birch says, "Can we have a song of Psalm on series?" Um, Lots of fawns, lots of fawns. Um, uh, I don't. I'm not telling you to watch this. Go back and find it or anything like this. Um, there was a TV series on HBO, like pre-Sopranos, back in the late 90s, um, where someone pitched a book of that nature, a graphic book of pictures. Uh, I think it was either on the show Dream On or Mind of the Married Man. It was one of those sitcoms. They both had kind of the same actors, where someone was trying to publish an adult book of all the biblical intimate encounters. Yeah, no, not let's. Uh, when we get to the Song of Solomon, unless we're just using deers and fawns and stuff, I don't think that's gonna fly on the shows and network. Um, but going back to Gotham and the Joker, uh, they ended up using set pieces from the TV series Gotham on Fox as part of the set for the Joker film and Joker Folia do. They literally used parts of the Fox TV series Gotham because to recreate the in the movie because they thought they did a good job with it and they already had access to it. So if you're a diehard Gotham fan, which I don't know many people who are, but if you're a diehard Gotham fan, you can check out some of the show in the Joker movie. Um, DC Studios has cast Kyle Chandler of Friday Night Lights fame as Hal Jordan. So, rounding out some of our cast for the upcoming DC universe, Lady Gaga is about to drop an entire album of music uh, that is a tie-in and lead up to the Joker Folie à Doom movie. The uh, title of the album is called Harlequin, and it will arrive within the week, so before the movie drops. So if you're a Lady Gaga fan, if you like deep cut exposition on storytelling, uh, Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn album will be a Joker tie-in. Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, which there's a poster for it here. If I'm pointing with the right hand, nope, wrong hand. Uh, there's a poster of it right here. You can see Zelda's little face. Um, Echoes of Wisdom came out on or yesterday, came out yesterday, and IGN has gave it a 9 out of 10. I've played maybe an hour and a half of it, and it's pretty darn delightful. And it's puzzling and strategy, but it's creative and fun. It's cute. I haven't had a ton of time to play with it, but I will. I've got to do this in about an hour and a half of graphic design, and I'll play Zelda. Gang, gang. Um, but yeah, it's out. It's fun. You should check it out. On games that aren't out right now, uh, Ubisoft, however you say it, has delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows by 3 months, knocking it from November to February 14th, 2025. So for all of those of you who don't have dates for Valentine's Day, you can be a samurai. Um, and this is a conflict because it's going to also put the game within the release window of the Ghosts of Tsushima sequel that's dropping and create more competition between the two of them. But yeah, after Netflix recorded profit increases by doing their password crackdowns, um, Disney Plus has officially launched their password crackdown. So if you're sharing somebody's Disney Plus account, be aware you're probably going to get hit somewhere in the near future. And they're going to have new extra member levels where you can add people to your plan. as it's coming. Let's see. The Ghost of Tsushima sequel is called The Ghost of Yotai, which is going to arrive in 2025, and they are speculating it will end up dropping about the same time as Assassin's Creed. Um, Probably one of the reasons Ubisoft might be delaying the game is because a union has called for an operation strike at Ubisoft over a pay dispute. Now, I think it's directly targeting their France operation, but they're in the middle of a strike and a labor dispute, so that could be affecting things. Director Tim Burton had a big weekend after Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice's success now put him in an elite category, placing him within the top 10 highest grossing filmmakers of all time. He has now landed in the ninth spot of the top 10 highest grossing filmmakers of all time. So Beetlejuice pushed him past nine or past 11 up to nine. So he's in the top 10 of that. If you're a fan of Hamilton or Snowpiercer or super violent superhero stories, uh, David Diggs, he also played Sebastian in The Little Mermaid that I haven't seen yet. But David Diggs, who played Jefferson and Lafayette in Hamilton, is joining the cast of The Boys, and interested to see what that looks like and where that goes. This today, September 27th, Ren Collective has dropped two new songs um, called Holy Trouble and What I Was Made For. I haven't listened to them yet, but I bought them because I trust Ren Collective. But the imagery they dropped for the two songs is Jesus throwing a table and some doves. So I'm here for that. Flipping tables. Uh, on this week's episode of Agatha All Along, we got confirmation of a Marvel character who is yet to be named in the MCU. Um, if you've ever listened to the Pull List podcast with me and Chris Poirier, you've heard us make jokes about Mephisto. Mephisto officially got name dropped in this week's episode of Agatha All Along, meaning he's a character that is functional within the MCU. And there you go. That could go a million different ways, but they've actually used Mephisto's name in the MCU, which is a big deal. If you're not familiar, Mephisto is a devil-esque character. Um, that is plays a ton in stories of comic books, but rarely makes it into any kind of cinematic version, just because using the devil as a cop out can be pretty easy in terms of storytelling. Uh, if you are one of the people who were interested in seeing the upcoming Hellboy film, The Crooked Man, um, it is not going to release in theaters in America. It is going to go straight to streaming. Uh, but it is releasing in the UK today. So if you're in the UK, you have the rare opportunity to go watch this in theaters. But Hellboy the Crooked Man will be released on streaming, or at least for digital purchase on October 8th. But they've decided to forego an American release. And even though Hellboy has been denied an American release, apparently important films still get American releases because it's been announced that a pickleball movie is coming starring Ben Stiller, and forgive me for not knowing his name, but the dude from New Girl who plays Peter Parker in Spider-Verse, um starring Ben Stiller versus that guy. Uh that's coming, a pickleball movie. Um Amanda says that she would have liked to have seen it in theaters. And you know what? I kind of agree. It looked weird and eclectic enough. And but I also confess I have not watched the David Harbour um Hellboy with Mila Jovovich yet. So um need to guess catch up on those things. Um but yeah, it's definitely not coming to theaters in that capacity. Let's see. And in case you needed some new music that really slaps, Mozart uh has dropped a new song for the first time in 235 years. A manuscript for Ganz klein Nachtmusik has been found in Leipzig, Germany, and it was a piece that he had written that never got done. And so now you can hear some new Mozart, if that's your jam. Uh, a live action How to Train Your Dragon is coming. That's not news, but the casting is Mason Thames and Nico Parker will star in a live action version of How to Train Your Dragon as Hiccup and Astrid. Um, it though I don't know that these are names you're going to automatically recognize, but Mason Thames, Nico Parker are your main two. Now, in news that'll get me unloved, I've never seen How to Train Your Dragon, so I'm sorry. Uh, Harvard University, after a lot of really responsible criticism, has finally decided to remove the binding of human skin from books within its library. Apparently, the Harvard Library had multiple books that were bound in human skin. And after protests, they're going to remove the binding. Probably keep the books, but they're going to remove the binding. Listen, I've seen enough Evil Dead movies. Uh, we don't play with this, y'all. There's no reason we need to be rocking with that. That's. Do you want possessions and chainsaw hands? Because that's how you get possessions and chainsaw hands. Um, get those out of the library. If you're a fan of wrestling or uh football, you had a nice little combo this week as over the weekend Seth freaking Rollins appeared at a football game, sporting the shirt of the local team. Then, once the cameras were on him, he ripped off the shirt, revealing the jersey of his team, and then he was subsequently thrown over the railings at the football game onto the field, um, and then taken out of the stadium. So that's a thing. In wrestling news we probably don't want to hear, the documentary on Netflix with Mr. McMahon, that's focusing on all of his crime, lack of integrity, and evil shenanigans is dropping. And ahead of it, Vince McMahon put out a statement on Twitter stating that he didn't regret being a part of it. That he was told one thing and obviously it went a different direction, um and he knows that there's lots of untruths and hurtful tactics that were used, uh but he doesn't regret doing it. That's not surprising. uh there has been a wave, and people are saying it's tied to the Diddy things, of celebrities deleting all of their Twitter accounts, their X accounts, Pink being one of the ones who was highlighted, as well as Usher. And Pink went on to comment, she's like, I deleted mine a while ago. Y'all are just slow to it. Um, and but there is a nice idea being able to just wipe away all of your textual history. To be able to say, hey, I never said any of that and y'all can't prove it. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there who have gotten in trouble over things they've said on Twitter. Um, and over the years, because 10 years ago you is not as wise as this year you. Maybe they were wiser. But yeah, but it's a rough thing to watch that kind of stuff happening. But I also just want to throw out this Bible verse, even though this isn't the Bible verse portion. Uh Matthew 12:36 is one of the things that I always think about whenever I'm posting something. Um Matthew 12:36 and 37 says, "But I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned." And y'all, if that's not the truest thing when it comes to our paper trail, social media wise, as well as these things, yeah, there's not stuff that you're going to say that's not going to end up being part um of your story, and you've got to be careful and cautious with that. Um, a baseball record was broken over the last week or so. I want to make sure I spell this dude's right. And um, do do do. The Los Angeles Dodger is the only player in baseball history to hit 51 runs and to hit 51 runs and steal 51 bases in the same season. He broke that record by making it 50 and 50, and then broke it again by making it 51 and 51. Um, Tristan Birch says there's always the away back machine website. Yeah, that's true. Um, but yeah, so Atani just breaking records. Andy Dalton managed to get the Carolina Panthers out of a desperate beginning to their football season. Uh, I'm a North Carolina native. The Carolina Panthers are my home team, and it has been a rough going being a Carolina Panthers fan for a long time. And Andy Dalton, who is not our starting quarterback, managed to score 3 touchdowns and get 300 pass yards in a single game in his game up front last past Sunday. And he is the only player in the NFL currently with 3 touchdowns and 300 passing yards in a single game this year. So to be the bottom of the list and still be strong is good. Also, on this note, it's announced that Eli Manning will be going into the NFL Hall of Fame, and Cam Newton is livid of this and stated that he deserves to go before Eli Manning, which I don't agree with. As much as I love Cam Newton, I have a Cam Newton Funko Pop and action figure on my shelf, but I think Eli Manning deserves it more than him. But he says that if Eli Manning deserves a gold jacket, then Cam Newton deserves 2 gold jackets. Uh, Earlier this week, uh, in Attleboro, Massachusetts, um, 8 bulls escaped from a rodeo and stampeded through Massachusetts. Uh, and I don't know the outcome of what happened with the bulls or anything like that. But if somebody did not start blaring "Bulls on Parade" by Rage Against the Machine, I'm disappointed in all of humanity because that needed to happen. That doesn't happen very often, and it needed to happen. Um, Ryan Coogler, who is responsible for the Black Panther movies, has an upcoming vampire film called Sinners that focuses on Michael B. Jordan, who's playing twins in the film, um, and Haley Steinfeld, who played Spider Gwen and Hawkeye, um, returning to his hometown to find vampires. Uh, but this is set around the turn of the century, I believe. Kenny Chesney, um, donated over $1 million to mass charities to benefit youth music programs. So that's super cool. Um, a Russian ammunition depot exploded after a Ukrainian kamikaze style strike. So somebody literally blew up an entire Russian depot of weapons, and the explosion looked near nuclear. Um, the NFL has fined New Orleans Saints quarterback Derek Carr $14,000 for performing a Michael Jackson themed touchdown dance, including the grab, um, after their blowout win against the Cowboys. Yes. And yeah, that's about the news for the week, guys. Um, there's a lot going on. I'm glad y'all have made it so far through everything you've made it through. And yeah, it's rough out there and a lot's going on, but I we I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're taking time to listen to this, not just for my sake, but um just glad you're existing. September has been suicide uh awareness prevention month, and or suicide prevention awareness month, and I know that it's something people struggle with, so I'm glad you're here. Remember, you can always dial 988 if you need help or need somebody to talk to, and I will be glad to offer any help I can in my limited capacity. But I'm glad you're here. Let's do our roll for initiative scripture reading. Gonna roll three d20s and a 10-sided die to roll up to 70 to determine which book of the Bible we'll read. We'll subtract 4, which allows us to be able to actually cover the first or all 66 books in the Bible. So here we go. All right. We are low in the rankings. Because that was if that was a game, I would have been dead. Also, this is kind of an announcement, but also more like a pitch idea. I am entertaining doing a D&D storytelling podcast. We're not actually playing a game per se, like an ongoing campaign, more like I'll have a guest on and I'll host as a DM and do storytelling elements where they roll and it changes the story, and just do it as an improv story situation. Um, I think that would be super fun. Deborah Moll's interview with John Barenthal was really neat, and it kind of made me think of that. So, yeah. Let's see, -4, 31. We are going to the 31st book of the Bible. So 31. Let's get this out here. Also, and I'm going to show you this in a minute, I got a new Bible reading application journal. I'm going to kind of go over some stuff with that in a minute too. Um, something some leader folks recommended. Let's see, I'm gonna move this microphone over just a hair. So 31, 31st book in the Bible. Let's see where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 13. Is that right? 13. So 26, 27, 28, 29. 30, 31. Obadiah. So Obadiah is, let's see how many chapters are in Obadiah. Oh, like y'all don't already know how many chapters in Obadiah? Shut your mouth. For real? Well, things I didn't remember. Obadiah is a one chapter book. So we're going to read the whole book of Obadiah. It's only 2 pages. But I also got this journal and it's called a Hear journal. And Hear is a scriptural study technique. Um, that is an acronym because everybody and their mama uses acronyms. Um, let's see, let me break this down real quick. So Hear stands for highlight what's the one thing that stood out to you, what verse stood out to you, explain, write out the details of what you're actually understanding, apply, how can you apply what you've read to your life, and then respond, what does it call you to actually do? And then reset, you marinate over your relationships that you're going through, your environment, your scripture that you're taking in, your emotions. You kind of do like a whole inventory of where you are in your life. And you do this for each day you read scripture. So um this is something new I just got. But I had some folks recommend it to me. So today is going to be entry number 1. So before we even read Obadiah, I'm gonna start with that and put this in there. So we are in um Obadiah 1. One. This is 9/27. Okay. I will send you this journal info. It's on Amazon. Um, I think we posted the link to it on my church's page at some point in the last week and a half. But I'll post the link to the journal on the video feed. And if you're watching this on YouTube, come check the Facebook feed or podcast, same deal. But yeah, I'll send it to you, Amanda, specifically too. All right. So let's see what we got here in Obadiah. Got a pencil, got a highlighter, gang, gang. Let's go. Also, you know what? Let's pray. Praying is a good thing to do with this too. God, thank you for the chance to jump into scripture this morning, to kind of start our day together this way. For any of those who are reading with me, or just listening, I ask that you would move in our hearts the way that only you can move, that you would help us to understand your word beyond just what's on print and how it applies to our lives. Thank you for keeping us alive and safe through this week of news. And know that you're not done with our stories the week ahead. In Christ's name, amen. All right, let's see where we're at. Obadiah 1. Obadiah's vision, the vision of Obadiah. This is what the sovereign Lord says about Edom. Uh, we have heard a message from the Lord as an envoy was sent to the nations to say, rise, let us go against her for battle. See, I will make you small among the nations. See, you will be utterly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You who live in the clefts of the rocks and make your home on the heights. You say to yourself, who can bring me to the ground? Ugh. Self-secure is not a safe space. Though you soar like an eagle and make your nest among the stars, from there I will bring you down. declares the Lord. Um, if thieves came to you, if robbers in the night, oh, what disaster awaits you. Would they not steal only as much as they wanted? If grape pickers came to you, would they not leave a few grapes? But how Esau will be ransacked, his hidden treasures pillaged. All your allies will force you to the border. Your friends will deceive and overpower you. Those who eat your bread will set a trap for you, but you will not detect it. We'll set a trap for you, but you will not detect it. They needed to roll a perception check. Do a little dice design right here. It's a terrible dice. Nat one perception check. All right, verse 8. In that day, declares the Lord, will I not destroy the wise men of Edom, those of understanding in the mountains of Esau? Your warriors, Teman, will be terrified, and everyone in Esau's mountains will be cut down in the slaughter. Because of the violence against your brother Jacob, you will be covered with shame. You will be destroyed forever. On the day you stood aloof while strangers carried off his wealth and foreigners entered his gates and cast lots for Jerusalem, you were like one of them. You should not gloat over your brother in the day of his misfortune, nor rejoice over the people of Judah in the day of their destruction, um, nor boast on the day of destruction, nor boast so much in the day of their trouble. I feel like that's a solid application verse for life in general, because Scripture teaches us that we're supposed to weep with those who weep, mourn with those who mourn. And for it to say, you should not gloat over your brother in the day of his misfortune, nor rejoice over the people of Judah in the day of their destruction, nor boast so much in the day of trouble. Like, don't root for people's suffering. I think that's a solid life application. You should not march. That's good. Don't root for people's suffering. Rejoice, flesh weep. By the way, if you see me writing this is going in the little journal side portions of uh my notes on the pages there. I'm gonna put all this into that journal I showed you a little bit earlier. You should not march through the gates of my people in the day of their disaster, nor gloat over them in the calamity of the day of disaster, nor seize their wealth in the day of the disaster. Don't take advantage of hurting people. There you go. Um, you should not wait in the crossroads to cut down their refugees, nor hand over their survivors to the day of trouble. The day of the Lord is near for all nations. As you have done it, it will be done upon you. Your deeds will return upon your head. Shinkies. As you have done it, it will be done to you. Your deeds will return upon your own head. Just as you drank on my holy hill, so all the nations will drink continually. They will drink and be as if they had never been. But on Mount Zion will be deliverance. It will be holy, and Jacob will possess his inheritance. Jacob will be a fire, Joseph a flame. Esau will be a stubble, and they will set him on fire and destroy him. There will be no survivors from Esau. Verse 19, people from Negev will occupy the mountains of Esau, and people from the foothills will possess the land of the Philistines. They will occupy the fields of Ephraim and Samaria, and Benjamin possessed Gilead. This company of Israelite exiles who are in Canaan will possess the land as far as Zarephath. The exiles from Jerusalem who are Sephard will possess the towns in the Negev. Deliverers will go up on Mount Zion to govern the mountains of Esau, and the king will be the Lord's. So that's a single prophetic statement specifically to the people of Edom from Obadiah. But there's still application in everything we read. Um, so highlight, I'm definitely gonna go with uh verse 12, which is, and I'm gonna write it out. You should not gloat over your brother in the day of his misfortune, nor rejoice over the people of Judah in the day of their destruction, nor boast so much in the day of trouble. That is Obadiah 112. So that's the highlight. The explanation is don't attack God's people. I think that covers broadly. How you treat others will be returned upon you. You can't see the whole picture, and you need to walk carefully. God is standing over his children. And that goes like for all his children. All right, so that would be my explanation I would take from that. Apply. How do I apply that? Don't be a douche. Generally good explanation application for all biblical teachings. Um, have empathy. Be cautious. Don't rely fully on your own strength and preservation. Um, and on the respond, look back at that example. On how they gave the example for this, the respond, they actually somebody wrote their prayer in that. Um, so I guess my prayer for this would be Help me have sensitive, help me have a sensitive heart towards people. Help me not be selfish. Help me not to be callous so I can love others well. And when it comes to the relationships, environment, scripture, emotions, thankfulness, um, this is something I'm going to do throughout the day. I'm going to kind of revisit for that portion. Um, but yeah, so I'll keep this to kind of go throughout the day. So that was my first time using that. You did it with me. It wasn't crazy hard. Um, but it's a good thing to actually take a little bit deeper than where I was with that. Um, so yeah. Uh, upcoming stuff. If you didn't see, I did put out the Carlac devotional for Baldur's Gate. I'm gonna start writing a One Piece devotional this week on saying goodbye to the Going Merry. Um, I will be at Boone Comic Con next week, which is Boone is currently flooded. So praying for those folks as well. I'll be at Boone Comic Con next week. The week 2 weeks after that, I'll be at Fayetteville Comic Con, and then the week after that, I will be at Empire Comic Con near Savannah, Georgia. So doing all that. I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. Um, which by the way, I've got like a pile of Patreon stuff sitting right here by my desk that's about to go out. Yeah, Lynn Turner, David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, the Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn, Candace Davis, Jay Shee, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Todd Turner, John Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. Thank you all for being as incredibly encouraging as you have been, and for just being as cool and supportive as you are. We're kind of coming to the finish line for our year of cons, and also in the process of booking all the shows for next year, which puts me in the I need to hurry up and write mode. Um, we'll see how things go. I just want to say thank y'all for being encouraging. Thanks for helping me start the week off together, or end the week together. And I hope your weekend is good to you. If you are in the North Carolina region and you are safe to travel with all the weathery stuff, I am the host for a concert tomorrow night. It is a kind of a night of worship with two bands. And the concert is a fundraiser to help people who struggle with addiction to get into rehab. There's an organization here called Cause We Care that if someone wants to go to rehab, they pay for rehab, they transport them, they get them back, and they get them established once they get out of rehab. And so every ticket uh is $20, and every 30 tickets puts some helps pay for somebody in rehab. So um yeah, it's just a good night of worship, good experience with that. And I'll be there tomorrow night, providing everything's not flooded and standing. Um, thank y'all for taking the time to hang out with me for listening and caring, and I hope y'all have a great day.